Hey y'all, welcome to another episode of Storytime. Thank you so much for joining me today. Today's episode, I made sure that I bumped up in the schedule because we have so many already recorded episodes that I cannot wait to release. But this one, I needed to get out ASAP because my special guest today, Jose Trevino from the Texas Rangers, is doing so much in the community, especially around this holiday season. So stay tuned. You're going to hear a lot about it, a lot about him and his career, and I hope you enjoy the episode. All right, y'all, welcome back. I am here with Texas Ranger Jose Trevino. Jose, how are you?
I'm good. How's everybody doing?
Doing well. All right, so I want to start off with, no offense to you and your career and all of that, but the most important topic. You are doing something amazing for the community during this holiday season. So can you go ahead and tell everyone what you're doing and how they can get involved?
Yeah, I'm actually having a few toy drives, but one of the main ones is definitely the one I'm having down in Corpus Christi, which is where I'm from. It's a drive-through toy drive. We actually have a GoFundMe, and it's actually in my bio on my Instagram and on my Twitter. Basically, we're helping out a nonprofit organization, and we're trying to get as much toys as we can, and we're trying to raise as much money as we can. That way, these kids can put a wish list together, and we can go out and just ourselves, we can go buy the toys with the money that's donated and make their Christmas wishes come true.
Love that. And you also do so much for the community. I know you said you're from Corpus Christi, also just being a Texas Ranger. It seems like you're always all over social media giving back. And I know somebody tweeted, you made an appearance, I think earlier this week, and you're always on Instagram Live giving away stuff. So for you, what has been the most important thing for you as far as giving back, and why is it so special to you?
I think just using my platform, just, in the world we live in, it's not so positive, and just trying to be positive in it. That's a hard thing to come around and find for some people, that it's like somebody that's always negative. I'm like, no, like, let's be positive about it. Let's, make a bad situation, find the good in it. Try your best to find the good in it. And for me, if I'm a kid out of South Texas that can make it to the big leagues, that's great. But it's not about it's about what I do on the field. But after that, it's about inspiring kids from South Texas, and inspiring kids in general to dream big and reach for the stars, because you never know what can happen when you have hard work and determination.
And one thing I loved watching on your Instagram Lives was you would have a kid on there to just ask you a lot of questions. And some of the kids were pretty young, and it was adorable. So tell everyone kind of how that got started, and if you have a favorite moment from those, because they were so cute.
Yeah, it was called Trevino Talks, and it was during the whole quarantine. And it was just kind of like, like something that I thought I should have done. Like, kids were missing out on baseball, and baseball fans were missing out on baseball. And I was like, like, this would be a cool time to connect with fans and kids and anybody who loved baseball, or anybody who liked the Texas Rangers, or anybody who was a fan. So I was like, I have a lot of things like in storage. I was like, let's just give them away. Like, I think it'd be cool to make someone's day, and we can go from there. And what I did was I basically was like, hey, like, retweet this, and I'd put a contest, and I'd pick a couple kids and be like, hey, we can either play like a PS4 game, or we could go live on Instagram. A lot of them pick live on Instagram, which is pretty cool. That way we got to see their faces and talk to them. And I just told them, like, hey, look, like, I have questions like kind of lined out. If you want, you can have questions lined out, and then we'll go from there and have some fun with it. And I think a lot of them were pretty fun. There was a couple. They were called the Willinghams. There's two boys. And then there was a kid named Cade Truax, who I actually know, but he asked some really, really good questions. And, it's crazy when you start diving into the minds of kids. Like, they'll just, sometimes they'll be like, oh, who's the fastest pitcher? But then other kids are like, hey, I want to know about this, and this. And you're like, oh, wow. Okay, like, I can try to answer that.
Yeah, and you could definitely tell that you're a dad, because when the kids were nervous in the beginning and they were a little quiet and awkward, like, you handled it so well, and they were so adorable to watch. And I know you also mentioned, just speaking of social media, that the GoFundMe link for the toy drive is on your bio. So can you tell everyone what your social handles are so they can go look at
Yeah,
it.
both of them, Instagram and Twitter, are Hip Hip Jose 5. And honestly, like the GoFundMe is kind of just like a stamp on everything. Like I know in the long run, the foundation that we're working with is called the West Side Helping Hand. They want to build a baseball field, and I think it would be so cool to like have a baseball field in the city of Corpus Christi. Like that's like, everybody knows it's like one field. It's not a sports complex; it's just one field. And when people are like, hey, whatever the field's called, and then hopefully in the future, like it's like, hey, you know what? Like we're doing our toy drive and our camp here at this field, that we, funded and we helped build, and it's on the best side of town, so which makes it even better. And I've got all these ideas for it, like the layout and everything, so I'm excited for it.
Love that. And I think you've been so positive, and it's something that's so needed in 2020, and especially with the holiday season. A
Yeah.
lot of people's lives took a hit due to COVID. So everything you're doing to give back is so amazing. And I highly recommend everybody goes and donates what you can, because it'll go to a great cause. So we're going to kind of talk about Corpus Christi a little more. So you were born there. What made you fall in love with baseball? And then also what keeps bringing you back? Because it's kind of rare that people stay in one place for most of their lives, and you're still in your hometown.
Yeah. So growing up in Corpus Christi, I actually, what's funny is I always say Corpus Christi. Like people are like, where are you from? I'm like Corpus Christi. And like anybody you're in South Texas when you can be like, hey, I'm from this area. And people are like, oh, okay, I know where that's at. But like where I'm at now, I live in Frisco, Texas. But now if somebody were to ask me in Frisco, like, hey, where are you from? Like, where were you born? I'd be like, I have to say Corpus Christi, because this town I lived in was so small and tiny that I'd be like, hey, people ask like, hey, where are you from? I'd be like, Bimbo, Texas. And people would be like, where's that at? They'd be like, close to Corpus. They'd be like, oh, okay, I know where Corpus is. So, I just say Corpus just to save a little time. But, growing up in Corpus, I couldn't tell you what really made me fall in love with baseball. I just, for some reason, like I never got forced to love it or play it or do anything like that. I always just had that love for it. And obviously, like I didn't know like how much failure comes with the game until obviously you get older, because like there's this saying where like you fail seven times out of 10, you're still a Hall of Famer. Like it's true. And like some people fail more than that, and it's just baseball. But for me, what keeps me coming back is just the grittiness you have to have. And I always tell everybody, I'm like, hey, like this baseball thing, like getting to the major leagues is hard. Like it is very hard. But being in the minor leagues, I feel like is like really hard, because it's a lot of mental stuff that you go through. Like anybody could do the physical stuff, and get through it and do it, and have the skill set and everything like that. But mentally, like we don't prepare ourselves mentally enough, I don't think, like to be in the minor leagues and to get in the big leagues and stay in the big leagues. Like it's so hard. Like this game will literally take you to the top of tops, and then it'll crush you and bury you lower than you could ever go in your life. And then all of a sudden you're like riding this wave, and you're like, all right, how am I going to ride this roller coaster without throwing up? Like, where do I put my hands? Like, okay, I need to know I have control of this, control of that, and it's tough. It's tough, but I think that's what keeps me coming back. And hopefully one day, when I'm all done playing baseball, I can, help out kids or help out athletes that are trying to become professional, and be like, hey man, like look forward to this, get ready for this, like this is going to happen, you're going to have some setbacks, it's okay, come back firing, like, and just kind of go through that.
Yeah, and I work in AAA baseball with the Reno Aces. For everyone that doesn't really know minor league baseball, it's the AAA affiliate of the Arizona Diamondbacks. And it's crazy because once you get to the AAA level, there's so many different like stages of people's careers that they're at. So like we had vets like Cody Decker and Travis Snyder and all of them who have been around the game for a while. But then we also got young guys coming up, like Josh Rojas, who was with us for all of like 3 days before he got called up, or Ben DeLuzio. And there's just such a mixture. So for you, what was it like just kind of being around so many different people in different stages of the career? Like, what did you learn from that.
Yeah, no, it's crazy that you say that because like everybody's at a different stage. Like you got an older vet that's like, oh man, like, you know, so hopefully something happens so I can get called up, you know, like that kind of stuff. And then you got the young, hungry guys that are just like, oh boy, give me a chance and watch what's gonna happen, like, you know. And then you get the middle guys where they're like, you know what, like, man, something's got to happen and I got to get my chance. And then you have like they're still in the middle where they're like, I'm hungry, but I'm not that hungry enough. But like, hopefully something happens so I can get my chance, and then I'll be hungry. But like, it's just you learn what they're about, and you learn to love them. Like they're your brothers, they're your teammates. You see them more than your family, and you get to know them like not only for the baseball player that they are, but for the person that they are. And I think that's what makes it special. Like I want the guy that's going to come in every day and be like, you know what, like, so what? We're in the minor leagues. Let's get it done. Let's go. Like we still have to perform. The lights are going to turn on. There's going to be people in the stands. You know, like let's get it going. Like somehow, some way, let's roll. So that's what I like, and I think that's what I love about it is like having those relationships where like I knew who Tim Diller was. I knew who Tim Diller was, but I never knew that I was going to get along with him so well. But he's such a good teammate that it rubs off on you. Like he's funny, he's great, but like nobody sees that he's actually like a really smart baseball dude. Like he knows the game and he knows this and from experiences. And I feel like as a young guy in the minor leagues, you're always trying to find that older guy that has those experiences because believe it or not, like every older guy is teaching a younger guy something. Like straight, like honestly, like whether they're not talking to the young guy or they're talking to the young guy, because like you can see like the young guys are going to follow the older guys no matter what.
Yeah, and that's a really important point too, just for everyone playing a sport. Always just remember if you're a veteran, eyes are on you. So always just watch how you carry yourself. You've always done such a good job of just being an amazing person, an amazing player. So when you're a vet later on, I know that the rookies will be in good hands.
Oh yeah, I hope so.
So then you were drafted by the Rangers in 2014 in the 6th round. How special was it to be able to stay at home and play in that system?
Yeah, no, it's been great. I was like, hey, like I know they came to a workout. Well, actually, they came to like a scout day or something, and I ended up talking to one of the scouts who I actually got to know pretty well. His name's Bobby Crook. Ended up drafting me. He called me in the 4th round. He's like, "You ready?" And I'm like, "Yes." Like, hurry up, like. Let's go. Let's do this. They called me in the 5th round. They're like, hey, are you ready? I'm like, dude, I'm not going to be waiting here all day. And sure enough, in the 6th round, they're like, hey, we're going to take you in the 6th round. I was like, all right, whatever. But, I mean, it's been great. You know, I love the state of Texas. I love, you know, that I get to go out on the field and have, like, Texas across my chest. Like, I think that's so cool. And if you know anybody from Texas, everybody loves Texas. You know, everything's cool. Everything's a lot cooler here, I guess. But for me, I take a sense of pride in it just because I was born and raised in Texas. So, you know, just to have Texas across my chest, I love it.
And working your way through the minor league system, I didn't know. I was horrible at following the minor leagues until I started working in Reno. But you actually won a Gold Glove in 2016 and 2017. How special was that? And for everybody that's watching this, maybe there's a young kid out there who's a catcher and trying to get better and all of that. You know, what advice can you give them in order to be able to someday maybe get a Gold Glove as well?
Yeah, those were some good years. I had some good teammates. I had some good coaches, and obviously good pitchers that helped me out a little bit. But those were fun years. We put in the work. We had good teams, so it was easy to come to the ballpark and be like, hey, we're gonna do this today, and this today, and we're gonna get it all done. That way, when you go out on the field, it's, you know, you just do your thing. And I always thank the coaches that I had at that time. Like, they were really on me about it. And like, the first Gold Glove that I won, I didn't have a goal to be like, hey, I'm going to win the Gold Glove. Like, I just went out there and was like, I'm going to try to be the best for my teammates and the best for the guy on the mound that night. And every day I just tried to bring that every single day. And then the second Gold Glove, I was like, oh, I'm taking this one again. I'm winning this one. I was like, you know what? I'm winning this. I'm going to do what I did last year, and here we go. So for me, it's just like having that confidence and knowing that every day you just have to bring it. You got to find a way to bring it. And no matter what it is, the guy on the mound is the most important to you. Whether you get 4 hits, you get no hits, you have 4 strikeouts or 4 home runs, like that doesn't matter. The guy on the mound matters.
That's really important advice. And just, I want to know as a baseball nerd, so obviously, like you said, the pitcher and the catcher have to have a bond that really nobody else on the team has because they work so closely together. So for you, what are the first steps you take? Like when you need a new pitcher and they're like, all right, we're going to pair you up with this pitcher for many games. You know, what steps do you take to get to really know each other?
So for me, I'm like a different kind of teacher. I'll give the test first, and then I'll take the test back. I'll grade it and be like, okay, all right, we can fix this. And then I'll give you another test and let you pass it. You know what I mean? So for me, it's like, I don't want to get to know him too quick to where like he's overhounding me with information about him and I'm overhounding him about information that I think he needs. I'll just let him go. Just let him go and just watch him, you know, kind of catch him a few times. And then every now and then be like, hey, like, why'd you want that pitch there? You know, and they're going to be like, hey, because of this and this and this. But okay, as long as you have a reason, I'm totally cool with it. We'll talk about it later if there's an issue. But for the most part, like I said, like it's like getting to know them on the baseball field first. And then after that, it's like getting to know the person and knowing like when that guy needs a tap on the butt or he needs to get like, you know, you need to whip him into shape and get in his face a little bit. Like you got to know those guys. You have to know, and you have to be able to know how to talk to everybody and be like, okay, I need to get in this guy's face, or I just need to hold off on this guy. Just let him calm down and then he'll be good to go. Like for me, it's just knowing that kind of stuff, especially when the game gets going in big situations like, you know, they get runners on quick and it's like, okay, are they breathing well? Are they calm? Like, do they know that they can get out of this, you know, and just kind of getting to know them like that.
That's super interesting. And then I'm sure you've told this story that I'm about to ask you actually the question after, I'm sure you've told this story a million times, but Major League debut, June 2018. How exciting was it to get called up? Where were you when you got the call? And then also just because I don't even know if the game was in Texas, but if it was, were you able to bring a bunch of family and friends out?
Yeah. So I had just had my son on the 10th. And I get called up on the 14th. Yeah, I get called up on the 14th. And I'm struggling in Double A. Like, I am struggling. Like, I'm like, at this point, I'm like, yo, I'm like, I need some help. Like, I need some help mentally, physically, like, emotionally. I need some help. Like, I'm hitting the ball. I'm not getting any hits. I was chasing hits. I was like, gosh, man, like, now, like, the big leagues is literally 40 minutes down the way. And I'm like, it's right there. Like, I just have to do good for a certain amount of time. And sure enough, I'm on the phone with our mental skills coach. And I'm like, hey, man, like struggling, you know, we're talking it out. All of a sudden, my phone just started blowing up. And I'm like, what the heck is going on? And I get a text message from one of my teammates saying like, hey, you know, Joe Mikulik, like our manager Mick at the time, he's like, hey, he wants to see you in the office. Like, hurry up. Where are you? And I'm like, yo, like, hold on, I'm on the phone. Like, I'll be down in a little bit. And they're like, no, like, you need to get down here now. And I'm like, oh, crap. Like, and then all of a sudden, like, I get off the phone, and I'm getting messages, calls, and, like, voicemails. And I'm like, who the heck? Like, what the heck's going on? So then I get something on Instagram from a teammate of mine, and it's a jersey with my last name on it. And they're like, uh-oh, I think something's happening. And I won't mention his name because he might get in trouble for it. But I was like, what the heck? So then I was like, hey, I'm in the parking lot. I'm walking down. They're like, hurry up. So I get in the clubhouse, and everybody's by the door, like smiling, laughing. I'm like, oh crap! Like, I think something's happening. And sure enough, like I get in the office, and they're like, hey, you're going to the big leagues, but it's just for one day. Like, you're going just for one day, and then you're coming back to Double A, and that's it. I'm like, all right, cool. And they're like, it's just for one day, and they kept repeating it. Like, Jace Tingler, he's the manager of the Padres now. He's like, you're coming just for one day. I want you to know that. And I'm like, okay, I get it. Like, where do I got to go right now? And he's like, hey, you know, just get in your truck, bring all your stuff, and get to the field immediately. I was like, okay. So I got my stuff, and I actually went back to my apartment where my 4-day-old son was there with my girlfriend and my girlfriend's mom and my mom. And I was like, I just walked in, I looked at him, and everybody's like, what are you doing here? And I'm like, I got to grab something. And they're like, all right. So I go and I grab my Rangers bag. And I had told my girlfriend, I said, look, anytime if I come and grab this bag, just know, like, it's on. Like, I'm going to the big leagues. And I grabbed the bag, and she freaked out, and both of our moms freaked out. And I was like, I have to go. I got to go. Like, I got to go now. It was like 4 o'clock already. I was like, oh, man. So I get on the tollway to go down to Arlington. If anybody knows anything about Dallas traffic, holy hell. Like, nothing, like, there was wrecks, there was accidents, there was people that needed help on the side of the road. I almost ran out of gas. Like,
oh my God.
now they have gas stations on the side of the tollway. Now they do. But I almost ran out of gas. Like, I remember I was on the phone with my sister. I was like, I'm putting gas. I'm going to the big leagues. I got to go by. And, like, I put, like, $10 and, like, took off. And stuck in traffic, like, on the tollway. And I'm like, oh, my gosh, like, I got to get there. I'm never going to get there. And, like, as I was driving up, I was like, I'm only going for one day. There's no way I play. And, like, it always seemed like every 5 minutes I got closer and closer and closer. Like, my brain kept telling me, like, get ready to play. Get ready to play. Get ready to play. Get ready to play. Something's going to happen. Get ready to play. And, I mean, unfortunately, like, one of our other catchers got hurt. And before they could even tell me, I had my gear on. I was like, I'm going in. I'm ready to go. So I had no time to be nervous. But got to play that game. And then the next day, they're like, hey, looks like you bought yourself another day in the big leagues. So I went. That was the 15th. Ended up getting my first hit. Started that game. And then the 16th was the Father's Day game. And, you know, the walk-off, that was just crazy, crazy moment. It was unbelievable. I didn't think, like I said, I was only supposed to be there one day. But, you know, there's miracles happen every day. And I think that was one of them, to be totally honest. And, I mean, after that, I got sent down. But it was a crazy, crazy moment. I'll never forget it. You know, if that's one of the biggest, you know, highlights of my career, so be it. Like, I'm all for it. That's fine with me. Like, but I definitely love to, you know, win a World Series or stuff like that. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, so the walk-off on Father's Day was actually how I first saw you play, realized who you were, all of that. And it was such a special moment. So for everyone that's maybe not a baseball fan, just go ahead and kind of walk through why it was so special for everyone.
So I just had my son. He was 6 days old. The guy got more big league time than any 2-year-old there now. So and then my dad had recently passed away in 2014. He was sick for a couple of years, and I was in college, and he had passed away. And, you know, that was who I wouldn't say made me fall in love with baseball, but led me to fall in love with baseball. And it was just a special moment. Going through it. I mean, thinking about it, like, now, like, it was like, man, something was bound to happen. And, like, the fact that I always remember, like, people saying, like, you're only here for one day, you're only here for one day, you're only here for, like, I promise you, they probably said it like 9 times. They had to have said it.
And you're like, just shut up. I know. Like,
no, literally, like, I was like, okay, I get it. I don't care. Like, where do I go? Like, what do I do? And, like, yeah, I was just like, what the heck, man? Like, let's go. Like, and they just kept saying, you're only there for one day. You're only there for one day. And I was like, ting, like, okay, I get it. So, but it was definitely like a special moment. And there's like, and I remember everything about that day. Like, I remember, like, getting into the ballpark, going to the parking spots, like, all that stuff. And, like, the security card going like, hey, Jose, welcome. Like, finally, it's about time. Like, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I remember, like, the smells, like, everything. And I tell everybody all the time, like, that goes to the big leagues or is up in the big leagues. I'm like, hey, like, remember the smells, remember everything, like, remember what you looked at. Like, I'll never forget, like, we're against the Rockies, and I was like, holy crap, like, this is insane. Like, the TV's a little bit bigger, and every ball they hit, I was like, oh no, that's a homer. And I was like, oh, it's a pop fly short. So it was I remember those days, like, very clear, very, very clear. So,
love it. And you did a little shout out for ballpark security. So I just want to also second that. The ballpark security guards at the major league level are like some of the coolest people ever. They know everybody's faces, all the families.
Yeah.
Like, they're amazing. And they're behind the scenes. So obviously they don't get a lot of attention. But it seems like
Yeah.
all the players really seem to make really great relationships with these
Yeah.
security.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like I always try to like say what's up to them and, try to remember their names and get their names right. And, because they work so hard and they keep us safe. Like, today I went to the field to get a workout in and I was like, hey, happy Thanksgiving. They're like, thank you. Like, I appreciate it. So, I think it's the little things like that just, you get to talking to them and get to know them a little bit.
Yeah, and they truly love their teams. Like, I know
Yeah,
I made friends with one of the main D-backs once who was outside the clubhouse by the player elevator, and he had a second job, but he came every single game just because he loved his Diamondbacks. So if there's anyone listening, shout out. Y'all are the best.
Yeah, yeah.
But, all right, let's go ahead and talk about COVID in 2020, just really quick, because there's a couple, like, personal fun questions I have. But this has obviously been a huge hit, Major League Baseball. We weren't even sure if it was going to happen, let alone make it to the World Series. But you've mentioned the community and everything you've already done. But for kids out there, it's been really, really tough. And this is a question I asked Taylor too. So for everyone that's struggling and really has kind of lost their love of the game because they've been so stuck inside away from their teammates, what advice would you give them to keep going?
If they have social media, like follow baseball players. Like there's a lot of guys now that are kind of like dipping into the social media stuff. And I think it's good for the game. I think it's actually like really good. Because like you said, like kids are kind of just like steering their love away for baseball just because, maybe they didn't get to play, maybe, they didn't get to come to games, so they feel like very distant. But like you follow your players, you follow your favorite players, you follow your favorite teams, like at some point, they're going to post stuff, they're going to keep you informed. But for me, I would say like I know kids who took it as a time to like get better and actually were like, okay, like these are some things I need to work on. Like maybe I should just work on it in the backyard, or maybe I should go to an empty field and do it. Like I know a lot of kids that did that, and I was like super pumped for them. I was like, man, that's so awesome. Like you're going to be way ahead of the curve when this stuff goes down. Like you're going to be good. Like you've worked on it. You're prepared for it. You're going to have fun with it. But I also know kids like who didn't do that. And, now that they're starting, they were playing summer tournaments or spring tournaments, whatever it was, like kids were behind, kids were getting hurt. And I'm like, I got nothing for you. Like you sat at home and like, you had a backyard, you had a net, you had a bucket of balls, like do something. You could have done something with it, like, so for me, I'm always about being prepared. And I would say just be ready, because at some point, like we're going to be able to go out there again. Like you're going to be able to go out there again. You're going to be able to go play again. And like, you need to be ready. You need to be prepared. So that way, like nobody passes you up, especially like kids in like high school area, like just be prepared. Like who cares if you're a freshman and you're behind a senior? Like just be like, you know what, like if I can get better, a little bit better, like I think it'll be good.
Yeah, that's great advice. All right, so to close out, 2 fun questions. I feel like both are kind of controversial, but it's the holiday season. Thanksgiving's in 2 days. So Christmas movies before Thanksgiving or Christmas decorations, are you okay with it, or is it an after Thanksgiving thing?
So I'm okay with it now because you see my son, my girlfriend, they love, like my girlfriend loves Christmas. And I love Christmas too, don't get me wrong. But I'll tell you why. Because my birthday is on November 28th.
Is it really?
So, yeah. So
oh my gosh.
I'm like, what the heck? Like, don't forget about Thanksgiving. Like, what do we got here? What are we doing? But at the same time, I'm like Clark Griswold. I'm like, hey, you know what? Like, let's put some decorations up. Let's get this thing rolling. Like, little by little, just add more stuff. I just put up my 8-foot snowman or 9-foot snowman and 9-foot Santa Claus in my front yard. So, and we already have lights around the house and the Christmas tree's up. Everything's like decorated Christmas already.
Yeah.
But I was like, you know what? Might as well. Like, if we're gonna be here, like, let's just do it. So I don't mind now. But a while back, I was like, no Christmas until after my birthday, and we'll do it.
Love it. I'm getting a package right now, so don't mind my dogs.
No, it's all right. My dog will bark too, except she's really, really little.
Oh, mine are two lab mixes. So
Oh yeah, mine
they aren't
is.
like full lab, but they're, I guess, pretty big. But yeah,
Yeah,
they
my
act
dog's
like,
probably not even bigger than their head. So
really?
yeah,
Oh.
I got a little dog. I'm afraid to admit it, but I got a little dog. But she's the best.
Oh, does she get along with your son, or does he kind
Yeah,
of bully her?
big time. No, he doesn't bully her like that much, but sometimes he'll like grab her hair and like we're like, hey, whoa, don't do that, and she'll. So what she does is she like nibbles. She doesn't bite. She won't ever bite anybody, but she'll like nibble at you.
Uh,
She's small. She's a miniature Yorkie, so she's
oh,
little. Yeah, that's my girl right there. Yeah,
love it. All right,
yeah,
and then final question, because I smile every time I see you and Taylor going back and forth
yeah,
on social media, normally ganging up and attacking somebody else on social media
yeah,
for this.
yeah.
Whataburger or In-N-Out?
Oh,
Like,
come on.
I I have lots of friends in Texas and they all agree with you with Whataburger. But the one in Scottsdale I went to, it was like not
You got to find the
good.
right one. You got to find the right restaurant because some people don't take pride in it, you know. And I'm from Corpus Christi, so first Whataburger ever was there. So when you order Whataburger in Corpus Christi, you know what you're getting. It don't matter the location, it don't matter the area. You know you're getting like this is for Corpus Christi. This is for Whataburger. You know that they're making it for you. So yeah, but no, definitely. I'm a big Whataburger guy, and actually like I'm doing a day before our toy drive. I'm doing a comedy show with a guy from he's from my area too. His name's Steve Trevino. Not
Mhm.
related at all, which is weird. But we actually have some raffle prizes. We're not gonna give away, but we're gonna raffle off some cool stuff to
Mhm.
raise some money. And one of them is Whataburger for a year. Yeah,
Like a burger a day for a year or
yeah.
like
Like
what's
I don't know the whole thing, but I know
mhm.
it's Whataburger for a year. Oh yeah.
Dang.
Yep.
So I I mean I will sit in line for 20 minutes for In-N-Out though. So do you not like In-N-Out or is it just
Just not
whatever?
appealing to me. Like I just like it's okay, it's good. It's good.
Mhm.
But just like I wouldn't, I wouldn't be like, "Oh my gosh, I'm craving In-N-Out." Like no, not for me.
What about Five Guys?
I like Five Guys. Five Guys is good. I would actually rank Five Guys higher than In-N-Out, honestly. I'm just saying.
Hmm.
Yep.
Their fries are definitely better than
Yeah.
In-N-Out's fries, though.
I like I yeah, I like Five Guys more than In-N-Out for some reason. I just do. Hey, it's something with the cheese, I think.
Okay, I can see that. And
But
then
nobody
because
tops Whataburger though. Nobody tops
um,
Whataburger.
I will, if I ever make it to Texas, I will try it and let you know. Because I'm
I'm
telling
telling
you, I
you.
gave that Scottsdale one like 5 tries, and it was just
Yeah,
like,
you gotta just get another location. I think that's what it is.
all
I
right.
think
Is
that's
there
what it
one
is.
in Arizona, like at spring training, that you go
Yeah,
to, or
There's one on Bell Road. Close
like in
to
Surprise?
yeah, in Surprise.
Okay.
It's close to the car dealerships actually. It's
Okay.
right after right when you get off the what the heck is that called? Not the 303,
The
the other one.
101.
The 101, yeah.
Mhm.
So right when you get off the 101, you go down Bell to towards Surprise,
Mhm.
towards the stadium, and it's right there on your right. It's right there by. It's maybe like 2 miles from the 101.
I like that you know the exact location of it.
Yeah, I just emergencies. Bad day at spring training. It gets hot out there, and sometimes you get yelled at a little bit. Maybe you strike out a few times. Nothing picks you up more than Whataburger.
Does it taste the same as the Texas one though, or is that one still not good and
It's
surprise?
not. That's nowhere near the one in Texas. But I give it a shot, and I recommend it. I give it like probably like a 9.5 out of 10. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, you don't want
I
to know the Texas numbers.
what, like
That's a different
20 out of
scale.
10?
Yeah, it's a different scale. We just work on a different scale.
Is there anywhere else in Texas that you would recommend that if anybody's visiting, maybe it's a chain that's around Texas, or maybe it's just Corpus Christi, where you're like, okay, you have to go here?
Oh man. Honestly, any Mexican joint in Corpus Christi is gonna be made with love, like straight from the heart.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't think you can find a bad Mexican restaurant in Texas or in Corpus Christi. No way. Zero chance. If you do, let me know and I'll pay for your meal because I doubt you'll find something like that. And if you do, we probably got a problem. But for sure, like you get down to Corpus Christi, any Mexican food, any seafood, like really and truly, like there's this place called I like a place called Snoopy's, and it's like right by the water. It's the best. There's a place called Water Street too. It's pretty good, but I'm telling you, Mexican food in Corpus, it's the best.
All right, everyone take notes and go and let Jose know if you make it out
Yeah.
there. All right, well, Jose, I know I've taken way too much of your time, but thank you so much. Good luck with the toy drive. Everybody go follow him on social media, donate what you can, and happy early birthday and early Thanksgiving.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. You too.